Welcome, folks, to another episode of Coral Living. It's good to be back together with my partner, Justin. Welcome. Good to have you. You're looking sharp as hell.
Always.
Always. Ooh, he's confident. All right. So, we're going to continue on with our series here in Spiral Dynamics. We're going through the spiral. We've covered beige, purple, red, blue, and now we've arrived at stage orange of the psychological development model called Spiral Dynamics. So, stage orange. What is there about stage orange for you when you think of stage orange? What's it about?
I don't know. From what I understand of this complete pseudoscience, it's something to do with personal perfection. It's the only stage that makes any sense.
What stage?
It's the only one that actually doesn't have their head up their fucking ass.
Oh, jeez. Whew. Well, stage orange is, it does revolve a lot around personal. Jeez.
It's okay. It's okay. It's vitamin infused.
It revolved. There is a lot that revolves around personal development in stage orange. We're making a shift again from community-based over to individualization and building up the individual person. We've transcended away, actually right away from spirituality. In stage orange, God kind of goes bye-bye during this stage. You laugh. You're mocking God? You're literally wearing a Jesus necklace.
Yeah. Jesus is a G, but that's different. That's different shit.
Yes.
Shit.
The stage orange side of the spiral is all about science, rational thought, being practical, pushing away anything that might be considered mystical or religious or pseudoscience-y.
So essentially anything that's bullshit. In a nutshell.
Anything that's
right again.
So yes, stage orange is all about making the best of reality right now, in the present, making as much money as you can, maximizing profit.
Excuse me.
Looking good, as Justin is here. It's a lot about personal.
I don't got time for people that don't look good.
Your personal
Pull
looks
yourself together, loser.
So, are you ever going to crack character? Are you going to join the show? What's going on? Stage orange.
Is it these?
I can't see yours. Yeah, I can't see your face. I can't connect when you can't see your face. But stage orange is very relevant because I have a feeling
that was a demonstration of stage orange.
Very dark orange, with maybe a lot of some of the bad attributes that might come, but there are a lot of good attributes that come with orange. There's a lot of scientific endeavor and new technological insights that come from stage orange that help us better understand finite reality. Is there anything that you'd like to throw into the mix about stage orange that really sticks out to you?
One of the things that has been sticking out to me, just doing some kind of preliminary research before this thing, was that it reminds me of red. I don't see too many people talking about some of the similarities between red and orange.
I think the difference between orange and red is that orange is starting to develop a conscience, or like morality and empathy. starts off very small. It starts in stage blue, it begins to grow, and an orange is not as ruthless as red. Although it's very individualistic, it doesn't seem, it's not going to kill, like, it will kill for its cause, but it has to do so in very rough roundabout ways, which we can get into later. But it does seem to be more focused on making its own personal life the best materialistically that it can.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's
got no time for anything that's not materialistic. Like, it's like an aspect of orange is that how much it scoffs at anything, any hint of like anything spiritual or metaphysical.
Yes,
it's not interested in that.
It's a complete.
If it does do something like meditate, it's strictly for self-improvement. Like it would have had to read a study, some scientific double-blind study on the effects of meditation for it to even consider doing
it
something.
Helps reduce anxiety by 10% or something.
Yeah.
It does have, it has zero time for anything woo-woo, and it gets a lot accomplished. Stage orange is also very competitive. It likes a good competition. You see that, I guess, maybe in its sports, its business thirst to maximize profits and become as wealthy as it possibly can. It seems to be unrestrained in that side of things. It's very capitalistic.
Yeah, very capitalistic, and it seems very self-biased. Like, to me, something that stinks of orange would be somebody that doesn't have very much empathy for people that are having a rough go in life. Like, it would be like, it's probably their fault. It's probably they're not trying hard enough. People are lazy. It would think highly of itself and think it's so simple. If you just do a little bit of work and read a book, you can figure what you need to do to get ahead. You don't have $1 million. You don't have a measly $1 million. What are you? Like, that's all orange to me. And
very pull yourself up by the bootstraps.
Yeah, and kind of lacking sympathy or empathy for people that are more hard done by. It might do something good, but only if there's something in it for it.
Yeah, it will do good things, but usually it revolves around making its image look good.
Yeah.
It'll volunteer for something, but you need to know that my name, I get a plaque or something, right? My name's gonna get carved on a bench somewhere, right?
Yeah.
That
losers love that crap.
And it loves the competition, and it fails sometimes. I guess when one of the negative sides would be able to see how what it's doing could be possibly hurting someone else. That's like one of the things in like its business endeavors, where it's like, because it constantly just has to maximize profit, always prove to itself every year that it's only doing better. It can never lose. If it runs into a hard time of making that happen, it will sometimes make unethical moves in order for them to win anyway, in order for them to somehow end up on top.
Mm-hmm. I think a good way to think of orange, I don't know if I'm going off track here, but another thing that just kind of dawns on me is that it seems to be such a divorce from blue. Like, everything that restricted you in blue, which was very moralistic, seems to be now free. You know what I mean? Where you couldn't drink, party, and do drugs in blue, you picture some 1980s Wall Street guy snorting lines of coke in the bathroom,
yes.
But he's also getting in a good workout on Saturday, sweating all those drugs back out. They care about entertainment and comedy, which is why their humor tends to get a little darker. It's a little more vulgarity, because they're exploring freedom now. I figured out what life's about, and it's about kicking butt and making success. So they're trampling over everybody, telling rude, what might be considered vulgar jokes and a lot of harsh language, and that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's a liberation, I guess, from
Yeah.
some of the stifling of stage blue, where blue becomes, reaches its high limits, then it breaks into orange, which usually a lot of experimentation happens. Trying things that blue wouldn't let it get away with. Now it's sampling it on steroids sometimes. Which can be some of the problems with orange if you take some of the stuff too far. And it's like, I don't think there's anything wrong with drinking, but when it takes over your life and destroys everything, that's where orange can become a problem. Any other things on orange?
There's a guy that really reminds me of Stage Orange. I don't know if anybody out there has ever heard of. I've mentioned him before. That Andrew Tate guy.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's very much okay. You tell me if this reminds you of Orange. He's like, I've got 16 supercars. I'm a kickboxing champion. I can tell you how to make a bunch of money too. But you just gotta subscribe to my thing and and become part of my group. He's selling something. He's promoting himself, and then selling what he knows to you for a profit. Like Orange is a lot about money. There's gonna be a lot of focus on how much money I got, how much I've succeeded, and you should want to be me. If you what do you need? Awesome lessons. You should want to be me. There's a lot of that, and so he reminds me a lot of that. And here's the thing: it's not. I wouldn't say it's synonymous with stupid. It's not. Orange people tend to be on the intelligent side. In fact, they boast and scoff at things that they would consider stupid.
Yes, they find a lot of fulfillment in exploring physical reality. They don't have any time for any wishful thinking out there about it, or philosophizing or anything.
Yeah.
It's not important to them. But they do love. They love space. They love. As long as they can somehow quantify it and get some type of...
They want to learn a lot. They want to learn about all the different things so that they can capitalize on the knowledge and use it. So it is about self-growth, Stage Orange. It is about self-promotion and self-growth and actually educating yourself. Science, they're big on science, like you said.
Yeah. And rational thought.
Rational thought, yeah.
They're very pragmatic, which makes them Stage Blue people tend to drive Stage Orange people nuts, and they sometimes can conflate anything spiritual, whether it's it doesn't matter if it's pre-rational or post-rational. They take any type of spirituality and they relate it to Stage Blue.
Yeah.
So even things that are beyond orange. When you started getting into the higher levels of spiral dynamics, which we'll look at, especially in Stage Green, it throws it in the box of blue. It labels it all as blue, and it drives it crazy. Matter of fact, Stage Orange gets a kick out of letting Stage Blue know how dumb it is. Mm-hmm. They'll write books about the stupid dogma.
And it's easy for Stage Orange to do that too. Because if you have a Stage Blue person that's like, God's real and he loves you, they're going to be like, oh, God loves me, eh? What are you smoking? Yeah, why don't you call upon him right now? You know what I mean? They're going to easily dismiss woo-woo anything and anything spiritual or religious.
Yes, loves to point to the circle, the naive circle reasoning around Stage Blue people. Mm-hmm. Oh, you believe in God. Why do you believe in God? Because your book says that you should believe in God, and it just goes round and round and round. Mm-hmm. One of the mistakes that Stage Orange does is that it cannot see that it is doing the exact same thing with its science. Yeah. It actually makes a religion out of science. We call it scientism, where it puts that same dogmatic belief that it makes fun of Stage Blue with, it does it itself. Now, if you were Stage Orange listening to us talk right now, you'd be screaming and you're going nuts listening to what I'm saying right now. Wow. because you're comparing the same mistake with stage blue, which drives orange nuts. You're saying that they're doing the exact same thing. Stage orange cannot see that it's doing the same thing.
Well, there's a lot of theories in science that are people sometimes forget are still theories. You know?
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, but it's the best. It's better than friggin' a dude moonwalking across a lake. You know what I mean? What are some
and to a point, they're very right about some of that stuff. Stage Orange is very right about a lot of like the claims. To me, it's like it's just a more advanced religion, very practical. But it's like it might sound like we're shitting on science here, but no, science isn't necessary.
Science good.
Science is very good. But it might not be as complete and whole as you're taking it for. Like, no amount of science, like if you were given a trillion years to study the infinite universe, you wouldn't be one step closer to figuring out the whole package than you were when you began. You'd be exactly where you started. That's one of the limitations of the scientific paradigm, is that it's using a finite tool to try and measure something that's infinite. So some of the limitations of the orange way of handling the universe. But even a lot, like healthy stage orange people actually understand that. Like when they're moving through stage orange on the healthier end of that spectrum, I think a lot of stage orange people, it's not crazy what I'm saying. Like even Einstein said that space and time are relative.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
But stage orange people tend to be more absolutistic. They're more about, concrete facts, and
not big into feelings. Don't put much thought into feelings. Like a typical stage orange person may even say something like my feelings are irrelevant. How do I feel? Doesn't matter how I feel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If I want to feel good, I'll go down to the strip joint. You know what I mean? Like I don't not accomplish my work because I'm sad. You know when your feelings?
Yes. Yeah.
Like something like that would be categorized as to not that important. Usually, that's not their main focus. Their main focus is success.
Yes. And they usually when it comes to like truth and reality, they don't go into the I've lost the term. What's the opposite of absolute truth? Relative truth. Yeah. Once you get into stage green, that's when truth becomes more relative in terms of understanding. So that's some of the limitations, I guess, that orange faces. Also, if it lives too carnally, it reaps what it sows from all that carnal living, which is one of the things that usually starts getting it to transition into stage green, is this constant pursuit of materialism doesn't seem to be enough.
That seems to be a big one for moving it along. Is the realization that, man, I've been rich several times over. I was part of pickup community. I've slept with tons of people. I've done all the drugs. I've done all the I've conquered in the business world, and it's not enough. It's not enough. That seems to be a big thing that pushes people along.
That's why a lot of super rich people, they end up moving to philanthropy, which gets them into stage green, moving forward. In our current cases, there's a lot of ugliness in it. Most of our, like the Western countries, are run off of like pure stage orange, and a lot of ugliest sides of that. And we've talked before how they play off of blue and they play off of green. And that'll become more understandable when we cover stage green. And that's one of the reasons that we're talking about this, because it really helps you understand what's going on in the world right now. Right now, it really feels like the governments, especially Western cultures, money is the heart of everything that is going on right now. Everything that's going on right now is keeping those people who are in the parliament buildings wearing the sweetest suits, driving the best rides, and eating filet mignon every single night.
That's a little speculative, but I see your point. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not up for debate. It's my feeling on it is that a big part of that is of what's leading the force right now. Why there is so much orange going on. Good examples of orange would be like rap videos with hookers dancing off of Lamborghinis, throwing money up in the air.
Yeah, a nice big gold grill.
Yes.
Very showy, which reminds me of Red a little bit, because it seemed like Red was about displays of power to a certain degree, but Orange is just, it's maybe more so just displays of, not violent displays meant to scare you, but displays meant to be like, look at me, don't you want to be a part of what I'm about? You know, come party with me, I'm the man.
It's also a little tactical too, because it's also trying to store away for itself like wealth, not just for today, but for tomorrow. They want to know that I'm safe tomorrow, and you know my kids are safe. So it does have some empathy. A lot of like really rich stage orange people, they want their generational wealth to pass. That's very common. That's not just rich people.
Yeah,
it's also like
stage orange isn't stupid, and I don't even actually. I wouldn't label it too reckless. It's not like it's reckless. It takes. When you're in part of stage orange, is it like we already discussed? Is that it's learning about many different things and gaining skills so that it can put itself into lofty, desirable positions.
Yeah, it starts to actually put a lot of prejudice aside.
Yeah.
Doesn't care about gay people. Doesn't care about black people.
Yeah, as long as they can earn me some money.
Yeah, as long as the bottom line.
I don't care what you're into. If you like, wazoo. As long as you can make me the moolah, it's that it cares more about that than like you said, prejudice.
Yeah. So it seems to open itself up, which is one of the aspects of moving through the spectrum, is that consciousness is expanding. Although it is kind of more of a self-based side of the spiral, it's still growing. It's still expanding and accepting more of its surrounding. Whereas blue was more about its tight-knit community, or its nation, its people. Seem to matter more. Stage orange seems to burn out a lot. That's definitely, I think, one of the key main factors that helps it transition into green, is that when your life is just solely built on bottom line, making money, go from here to this, trying to do all this to
working
prop up
24/7, burning the candle at both ends, and competitively
doing
that. It's like, oh,
you're doing it against all the other stage orange sharks.
You got to protect your kingdom. You got to protect what you've earned.
Yeah. Somewhere along the line, just goes, I just want to break, man. I just want to and there is kind of a loss of connection. You have moved kind of like from the farthest. We've now reached like the peak of moving away from God, if you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
You're at you're not just far away from God. To you, God isn't even there. It doesn't even exist.
Yeah.
The only thing is just raw, plain, mechanical reality.
Yeah.
And eventually, Orange gets sick of that.
Yeah. But there's a lot to explore. I mean, I think you could go a whole lifetime dying Orange, because they are interested in always bettering things, and advancements are always being made. So there's plenty to fill your time with if you are stage orange all the way your whole life.
Yeah. Some people run into a dilemma. That's why the dilemma of I need to change, where some never grow out. I guess they never reach the dilemma point that causes the change. That's why you get a lot of these rich people that end up killing themselves. they have a choice to either like maybe leave some of that fame or the high life behind and pursue something with a little bit more depth and meaning, and maybe try to connect with reality more, or just off yourself. That usually is very common. Like, how many times have we seen people who you would think, you've got everything, you got the whole world, and then they end up killing themselves. Like, this happens so many times in the course of history.
It's happened. I remember talking to one person who was getting to what seemed like the end of their career that they'd been in for years and found a lot of success in. And it looked like things were slowing down for them. They were getting a little bit older, and they were like, I don't know what to do now. And they were at a crossroads where they were like, well, I'm either going to keep just continuing, even though I'm kind of a little older now and things are not, it's not as easy for me to do this anymore, or I could make a big change and move away and kind of revitalize my business in this other place. And I was like, well, have you ever considered walking away from all of it and pursuing enlightenment now that you're kind of... And they were like, like, that was like, what enlightenment, the thing Oprah talks about? What are you talking about? Like, they have no interest in spirituality at all. Yeah. And since that time, they went and kind of revitalized their career a little bit.
Weren't there like a lot of people that kind of like did that though? Like Steve Jobs, and he'd take a bunch of time off, go out east.
Well, one thing that could move you from orange is start to take a bunch of psychedelics.
Yes.
They stumble across something like dimethyltryptamine or LSD or something. They find out about it.
Party.
And then it opens up their consciousness. They find that thing they were looking for, and they're like, holy crap, there's more to this reality than I thought. Yes. And then that phases them past stage
It's so funny you mentioned that, because that was literally on the news I would say about 3 times a year, like when I'm listening to like my radio in my truck while I'm working. We'll talk about studies coming out of Johns Hopkins University or something about how they're looking at the DMT from the frog. I forget the name of the frog.
Bufo alvera or something like that.
Wild name. But they're doing tons of study, but like orange is so safe with it, right? Like everything's got to be done perfect. You got to have the right people. But like they were saying today on the radio, it was like it's helped people break out of so many like hard addictions, like heroin. Mm-hmm. And they're like, we'll continue to do it on, like we'll continue to do more studies and stuff. One of the good things about like the synthetic versions and stuff like that is they can control the time periods and stuff like that, especially when they're being monitored, and that the chemical stuff is way easier than like say psilocybin, which lasts like 12 hours and like just messes with people. It's a little bit faster, you do the inner work and then you're out. But we're going to see more of the psychedelic revolution. We're going to see more and more of that, because it seems kind of like a gateway.
It's not an invitation for any viewers to mess around with psychedelics at all.
Yeah.
Go do your own research on that, because I believe there are dangers to that sort of thing.
Yes.
So.
Yes, that's true. I'm just saying there's a lot of stuff out there, and stage green, when you get into stage green, seems to be there's a lot of messing with that, and it seems to be a lot of that involved, helping people to
opening your mind,
expanding their consciousness and seeing reality through different paradigms and stuff like that.
Gets very Doctor Strange.
So that's any other limits of orange, like it's given orange. It sounds like maybe we're shitting on it too much. Orange has given the world so much, like the Industrial Revolution, all the like amazing scientific, the computers, all the stuff we have. So much stuff we have comes.
A big issue I have with orange is that yes, it's very productive and industrious, but there seems to be a lot of this in Stage Orange. There's a lot of new things being created and happening and movement, but it's not really solving problems at their core. Like it may even be tackling problem solving, but with everything it does, there seems to be like an equal amount of bad stuff with it. And I think that changes a little bit further up the spiral.
Yes.
But with orange, as good of things as it's doing, it's causing chaos too, because it's so capitalistic. It doesn't care about it's not going to be overly concerned about the environment or the ethical aspect of its industriousness.
Yeah, and it has sometimes, I think, seeing a big picture where things are going. We're running into some of these problems now when you always have to be making a profit. When you can never just have we made as much as we made last year and that's good. Yeah. There's never you're never satisfied. No. So it constantly has to cut corners and do shady things in order for it to make profits. It has to do things in other countries that you couldn't get away with here in order to get that product here. Yeah, there's so much of that going on, so much. And Orange doesn't know that one day that's going to come back and bite in the ass, which is going to happen. So as you start to evolve through the spectrum, you start to realize that and we need some actual real world change that doesn't shit all over everything as it's being creative and discovering and making its profits, which is hard. It's not easy.
And all the stage blue people, all the varied religious stage blue people are just waiting for the other shoe to drop so it can give, when the moment stage orange goes, what has my life been about? It all caught up to me. Hey, I can tell you. Let me tell you about Muhammad. Let me tell you about Jesus. Get away from me. I've already been through that. But which I think is important to remember too. You got to keep in mind that it's all the other stages that brought you to orange. This is the highest we've gotten so far yet on the model. We started off as beige where you're a baby, purple where you're
tribal.
Life is magical, tribal. Red, which is gimme, everything's mine, and if you don't give it to me, I'll take it from you. And then finally blue, which is we need some rules here and. We had a faith and we believe in order, and then orange is finally the exploding out of all those things into I'm free and I'm gonna, but it's there seems to be almost like a alpha male aspect to it.
There seems to and all the stages leading up to orange are usually masculine dominated.
Really?
It won't turn. Doesn't even accept the pure feminine until part green.
Maybe in purple. Maybe a chance in purple, but probably not because it's so ancient. It would probably even back then.
Sometimes I think my beef with orange is the cocky pride factor, right?
Yes.
It works
can be off-putting.
Orange works its ass off. Give it that to get what it's got. Mm-hmm. Whether it's its intellect, it loves if you're a real savvy intellectual,
and you're not gonna beat orange at a game of chess. You're not gonna be able to be what about the feelings? They're gonna be look, the studies show women like this type of guy. I'm that guy. I'm the alpha. I'm the one you can trust, and they're gonna make sense. They're not stupid. Yeah. They're not doing some weird ritual and telling you, trying to convince you with some kind of malarkey. It's science. Yeah. It's science and reason. It's actually the one that makes the most sense thus far in the model.
Yes. Until it reaches some of the things we're talking about, and then it has to deal with it. Mm-hmm. How does it deal with those obstacles, with those limitations? Well, that will be stage green next week.
Orange is gonna like what's higher than it. What's higher than orange? Some people
blue and orange want to vomit all over green.
That's the common ground blue and orange have is their disdain and hate for green, which they're not looking up at it. They're looking down. Yeah. They're thinking that's.
Although I find that there's a lot of, when we do get to green, that there's a lot of misunderstanding around healthy green and unhealthy green.
Well, let's not talk about it now, but it is volatile in a sense. Very easy to be crappy green.
Yes. Probably because it's new. It's one of the newer phases that we're moving into.
Yeah, the road's not well traveled for green.
So it's learning. It has a lot of learning to do.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, this has been fun. It was great. I hope everyone liked the episode. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Nope.
All right, folks. Well, if you liked it, don't forget to hit the subscribe, the like, the notification bell that lets you know whenever we drop another episode. And everybody, until next time, stay spiritual.